now.
The First Alert Weather Extra Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. Let's get right to radar. We are tracking severe storms moving south across parts of our area. It's a First Alert weather day for the heat, but how about this? Good news, we're getting some heat relief. The bad news, you get storms on days like this with this extreme heat. They often go severe right away, and that's what we're seeing. Some severe storms now pushing south through Walker County. And the way this is moving, Fayette County now being impacted right along the Highway 13 corridor. And what's interesting here is this is where we've had some of the hottest weather of the day. We had some weather watcher reports in here of temperatures near 100 degrees, heat index levels as high as 105 plus. And you can see right now Fayette County, the intense lightning, over 200 strikes. And another thing, we're getting a lot of what I call positive lightning strikes out of this, because you can see these strikes that are around the storm displaced from where we have the core of heaviest precipitation. So this is one of those situations, and for some of us, you may hear the rumbles and the sun may be shining overhead, but there is a threat of lightning. You need to be indoors if you're hearing those rumbles. And there we go with a new warning now. Looks like Tuscaloosa County has been included now in a severe thunderstorm warning as these storms move south. So Wyndham Springs, Moores Bridge, Whitson, and if you're watching around places like New Lexington, you will also be impacted. Right now we're getting the storms. It looks like the heaviest of the rain has moved now. The storms just to the west of Jasper. Look at that. The development's kind of built more back in towards places like Carbon Hill, and it has really filled in around Carbon Hill. We had a storm to the south, and now that next storm's moved in, and you can see some heavy rain happening right there. I just have one favor. Send some of that rain my way. We need it over here. We're burning up across parts of Alabama right now. Birmingham, Shelby County, down to Chilton County, East Alabama. More of these heat advisories. The actual heat advisories in effect through tonight. Tomorrow, the excessive heat warning goes into effect by late morning, continuing through tomorrow afternoon for those dangerous heat index levels. Once again, could top 110 degrees in some areas. Could we see an afternoon pop-up storm? Certainly a possibility. We have that dome of heat over Alabama, and some of those storms are able to fire up. And we'll have to watch out for Saturday as well for another excessive heat warning, again for Alabama. And there is another air quality alert that we have in effect. But again, severe storms moving south. Make sure you have our First Alert weather app so you can get those alerts. I'll be back to continue tracking these storms. And we're also going to have the full 7-day forecast as we continue on Weather Extra, and more on these rip currents. Big story there along the coast. Are you traveling for the weekend, heading down to the beach? Got some good safety advice and conserving power during this heat wave. More after the break.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into Good Day, Alabama.
A new morning comes with preparing right, because while you slept, news broke.
We have new information from that breaking news that happened this morning.
While you head out, the storm we gave you the first alert for is on its way in. And as the key turns the ignition, your shorter route to work is being found.
Avoid 459 southbound completely because of a crash.
A new morning means everything you need for a good day is on Good Day Alabama, always on your side.
The First Alert traffic you need to get you there safe and on time. Tomorrow morning, everything you need for a good day is on Good Day, Alabama.
You're late, out the door, and on the go. Don't worry.
Good Day, Alabama continues all morning long.
And wherever you watch, this is what you need to know right now.
More reporters on the streets with more hours of news when you need it. Everything you need for a good day is on Good Day, Alabama. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. We have, of course, had First Alert weather days in place, which will likely last through Saturday, thanks to the possibility of dangerous heat across central Alabama. We check in with meteorologist Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson for how to play it safe in the summer heat.
So, Mickey, we have a First Alert weather days for the dangerous heat.
Yeah.
And one reason why is heat can be very deadly.
Yeah, you know, we have tornado warnings, you have hurricanes, you have lightning, you have all these things, even flash flooding that are concerns when you talk about severe weather. But actually, it's heat that claims more lives over the past 30 years, 143 deaths.
Yeah, you'll have several cases of, kids practicing outside for football, get heat exhaustion. You have, unfortunately, reports of people leaving their children behind in the back seat of their cars. And that's where we're getting a lot of these fatalities, all these deaths from heat-related illnesses. So this is always an important topic, and we just want to keep you safe. But, humidity is a big thing when it comes to the heat. When it's a low humid day, dry air, you can actually cool down a little bit.
Yeah. On low humidity days, sometimes the temperature can be greater, but it's that combo effect of even slightly cooler temperatures, but you factor in that high humidity, and it just keeps your body, the humid air, limits evaporation, which makes us very uncomfortable, raises that body temperature at 106 or above, and that's when it really gets dangerous.
Yeah, we sweat just so it evaporates and cools us down. It's just a natural way to cool down, but when it's really muggy, it's hard for that sweat to evaporate too cool, and therefore you can overheat. And it's very important to identify heat exhaustion versus heat stroke. And really, if you're feeling any of these illnesses, that's your cue. You need to stop what you're doing, go inside and take it easy and get hydrated. But if you're feeling faint or dizzy, that could be leading to heat exhaustion. But if you're getting this really intense headache, that
nausea,
could be a sign of heat stroke.
Body temperature, you're not sweating at all. You might have your face really flushed, really red, rapid, strong pulse, and you're about to lose consciousness. You need to call 911.
Yeah, that's an immediate concern. With the heat exhaustion, you'll get that a lot with maybe football players or people outside practicing. You might get a little nauseous. You might have some muscle cramps. All of those are just signs to stop what you're doing and take it easy. Of course, these are basic tips. We know you probably know you should probably drink plenty of water and to wear sunscreen, but it's just always helpful to stress these important tips to stay cool.
Yeah, and wear that lightweight, loose-fitting clothing. Take regular breaks in the shade if you can. Just get inside the air conditioning.
That's right. So like you said, stay indoors in the AC if you can. We're always concerned about those who may not have air conditioning or have ways to receive it, or even those who have to work outside, like construction workers. That can be really tough.
And if you're out and out and about and you want to cool off, maybe have a drink, alcohol's not your best bet on these sultry days when it's so hot. So drink a cool cup of water for about 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, even if you aren't thirsty. If you're working outside for extended periods of time, for long jobs, and some of these beverages that have those electrolytes is a good idea.
Yeah, that can be very helpful. And I will say this too, Mickey. I used to march in the Redcoat Marching Band back in the day, and we would have game day on Saturdays in the middle of the afternoon in August and September, and it's 90-something degrees. You can get heat exhaustion through that.
And that was not loose-fitting, light-colored clothing.
No, it wasn't.
Red and black, wasn't it?
Right. So one of the things I did was actually drink lots of water the day before I knew I was going to be out in the heat. And that actually helped me out significantly, feeling better the next day. So that's a good tip. If you know you have to be outside, let's say Saturday or Sunday, stay hydrated, drink plenty of water the day beforehand, and that way you're not having to play catch up.
I'll drink to that.
There you go. Stay safe, everybody, and try to stay cool.
Thanks, Matt and Mickey. Well, Alabama Power wants to remind you about simple ways that you can help to take the pressure off of your air conditioner and your wallet. Our Jillian Brooks spoke with Alabama Power about small things you can do to keep you and your bill cool.
The heat is on, and so is your air conditioning.
The less you run your air conditioner, the more you're going to save.
Anthony Cook with Alabama Power is sharing ways that you can keep your home cool without breaking the bank, starting with keeping out the natural sunlight.
Closing the curtains, having maybe a lighter curtain so that you defray those direct sun rays into your home.
The higher your thermostat is set, the less it will run.
And we recommend combining that with your ceiling fan or a window fan. Those things will help keep you cooler by 3, 4, 5 degrees.
To be energy efficient, try waking up early or staying up later to do your house chores. Cook says to avoid running larger appliances like the dishwasher or washing machine during the heat of the day.
Those things help relieve the pressure on your air conditioner to keep your home cool.
And take a few seconds to unplug your appliances that you're not using, like the toaster or TV, to save a few dollars.
Your appliances continue to draw power even when you're not using them.
Jillian Brooks, WBRC Fox 6 News, on your side.
And continuing coverage of this First Alert Weather Day, checking in with some of those professionals who have to be out in this heat. We actually have a crew working on a project here at WBRC and asked them about handling the heat, especially when there's no shade. Surprising to us, they don't really adjust their hours, but they do make sure at least they stay hydrated.
Guys, just try to stay hydrated and, prepare for the weather. Cooler full of water, Gatorades, whatever the guys want.
Doug with Durante Home Exteriors also told us the crew just takes breaks as they need them. Good advice. Tania?
Oh yeah, great advice there, but we've got some heat tips for you all, because with this extreme heat, parents, they need to pay closer attention to their children, especially because they're more susceptible to heat-related illnesses than us. And those symptoms can come on quick. Initial signs that something is wrong include muscle cramping and increased heart rate. Dr. Amy McCullum with Midtown Pediatrics says if you notice your child is not feeling well, get them out of the heat into a shaded area and get them fluids.
If they are vomiting at all, I would take them straight to the emergency room. If they seem confused at all, I would take them to the emergency room. And just in general, if they don't seem like they're improving, just go straight to the emergency room because they may need a higher level of care than just fluids and cooling off.
And Dr. McCullum says try to keep your kids inside at the hottest times of the day. And if they are outside playing, they need water periodically and give them breaks at least every 15 minutes, even if they say they're not thirsty. And meanwhile, air quality in Chicago is at a level that's considered very unhealthy. Xperia are blaming the ongoing wildfires in Canada, the same ones that caused similar problems in New York City a few weeks ago. You can see the smoke lingering over the city. It's also affecting other cities, including Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And it's that time of the year where it seems like you can't step outside without getting eaten up by bugs. With cases of malaria found in Florida and Texas, it's worth knowing what you can do to prevent those mosquito bites. An expert with the Johns Hopkins Malaria Research Institute says mosquitoes have a powerful sense of smell. That means they can track chemical signatures the human body emits through our breath and skin odor.
Some people are more attractive to mosquitoes than others, and we think a large part of the reason for this is the way that we smell to different mosquito species.
The best way to protect against mosquitoes is to use window screens and remove standing water from your yard. It also helps to cover your body with long sleeves and wear pants.
Always good to wear pants, right, Tania? Well, rip currents on the Gulf Coast, unfortunately, have killed at least 11 people in just the last 2 weeks. That's according to preliminary data from the National Weather Service. The tragic deaths span from Fort Morgan, Alabama to Panama City Beach, Florida. CNN's Nick Valencia reports from Fort Myers Beach, where some law enforcement officials are begging people to pay attention to tide warnings.
Panama City Beach, Florida, recording the highest number of rip current beach fatalities in the U.S. this year, with 7, all occurring within June 15th to June 24th, according to the National Weather Service data.
Out here, it can quickly go from extreme happiness to extreme sadness, and very, very quickly.
No fewer than 11 deaths reported during that period, along a stretch of the Gulf of Mexico between Fort Morgan, Alabama, and Panama City Beach.
The safest place to be when you come to the beach is near a lifeguard. And I will always pump that out, swim near a lifeguard.
Officials urging beachgoers to pay attention to the warnings, especially the high hazard double red flag, which means that the water is closed to the public.
The double red flag, you won't catch me out here.
Bay County Sheriff Tommy Ford posting his frustration with beachgoers online, calling the deaths unnecessary as first responders risk their own lives pulling people out of the water. And even posting these photos online showing the trenches in the sand caused by the rip current, saying, "You say you're a good swimmer, an experienced swimmer, a competitive swimmer, but you are no match for a rip current." According to the National Weather Service, rip currents are channeled currents of water that flow away from the shore to deeper water and are present in almost all beaches where waves break. While not all rip currents are dangerous, the U.S. averaged 71 rip current fatalities from 2013 to 2022, making them the third leading cause of weather-related deaths during that time, killing more people than lightning, tornadoes, or hurricanes. The only things more deadly, heat and floods.
With the influx of people and having a roving patrol, these things can happen. But we still have a guard that's trying to make contact with people, trying to advise them where the rips are.
This comes after former NFL quarterback Ryan Mallett died in an apparent drowning off the coast of the Florida Panhandle. And while authorities didn't cite rip currents as the cause of Mallett's death, officials warned beachgoers to be aware of their surroundings while in the water.
Sometimes, most often, by the time you realize you're in trouble, sometimes it's often too late.
Oh, thank you for that powerful story. Coming up next on First Alert Weather Extra, we check in with
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team always on your side.
The first alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra, tracking some storms with some intense lightning. This is Fayette County. Just wanted to zoom in so you could see here 240 lightning strikes over the past 15 minutes with this one storm. It is a storm. If you are anywhere in the vicinity and you are hearing those rumbles, you need to be indoors right now around Penley, Cole Valley. This is a severe storm. It's moving south towards Sandtown, Concord, Wyndham Springs, and lightning is a a big concern here. What I would call, I've used this term before, an electrical storm as it moves to the south. Some large hail with this and some damaging straight-line wind gusts. But this is about to impact northern Tuscaloosa County, so get inside if you are, well, hopefully you're inside watching First Alert Weather Extra, but if you have a family member outdoors, maybe doing some work in the yard, yell out there, say, hey, it's time to get inside. We got some storms that are moving to the south. Right now, Birmingham, things are pretty quiet back in towards Anniston, so just grabbing the radar controls here for a minute, just kind of show you what's happening here around our area. So here's kind of the big picture, and you can see the storms are kind of localized, and it's interesting here where we are actually seeing the storms. They're over a part of the coverage area where we had the highest temperatures today. We had readings in here around 100 degrees with a heat index 110 in some areas. Look at Hamilton now showing 75 degrees. So what a relief. I mean, this is certainly the one good thing is we're getting some heat relief this afternoon and this evening. But that said, it's still going to be a First Alert Weather Day tomorrow and on Saturday, because it won't take long tomorrow. Those heat index levels come back, and actually after a little bit of rain today, a little bit of moisture, that's going to add to the heat index tomorrow. So still a concern for excessive heat across west central in East Alabama. That's the severe thunderstorm warning, by the way. Tuscaloosa County is included, so keep the weather app close by. You'll get those updated advisories we're sending out right now as that storm moves to the south. Air quality alert returns for our Friday for those higher ozone concentrations. Jefferson, Shelby County, avoid strenuous outdoor activities, but you want to do that anyway with the heat index like this, 109 Pell City. And yeah, we're going to feel more of those triple digits here across East Alabama as well. Look at tomorrow showing 111 Utah, 114 in Fayette, 113 in Jasper. Again, this is the heat index, 111 around Birmingham, so dangerously hot there in the afternoon. But this dome of heat, this high pressure ridge that we have overhead where the air is sinking, that's why we haven't seen a lot of storms. And that's why the storms are kind of localized today. I'm really surprised they made it as far south as they did. But sometimes you get, even on days when you have a ridge like this and you get extreme heat, you get thermal instability that develops. And that's why some of these storms are able to even penetrate where we have this ridge that's been in place across Alabama. Looking at the setup, though, over the weekend, that heat bubble starts to back off, and it's going to give way to more of those afternoon storms. It's going to kind of eat away at this setup, and I think by early next week, each afternoon, we'll see a better coverage of scattered storms. But any storms in here that pop up could be strong or severe, so watch out for that over the next several days. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast, and you can see there for Monday and Tuesday going into the 4th of July, scattered thunderstorms, but we should see a lot of that dissipate but just in time for thunder on the mountain. There's Wednesday and Thursday scattered storms. Notice the high temperatures closer to where we should be for this time of the year. And a picture just in from Winston County. That's what we're seeing from those storms. This was shared on my Facebook page. This is from Stormy in Ash Ridge there. And you can see it looks close to quarter-size hail. So that's a severe storm that it had moved through Winston County. By the way, Winston County, the conditions improving there. This is now more into Fayette County and soon to be into Tuscaloosa County. So tracking those storms, tracking the heat on the 7-day forecast. What kind of surprises are on the way? Let's check out that Beyond the 7-Day Forecast with meteorologist Lauren Linehan.
Hey, Wes. Well, it actually looks like in terms of temperature, 6 to 10 days from now will be fairly average for early July, meaning temperatures possibly around that 90-degree mark. Now, if you look across the northern Great Plains up into the Rockies, that's the spot where we could be seeing below average temperatures, also closer to Los Angeles. But here at home, at least in central Alabama, just looking kind of near average. So let's look at the potential high temperatures once we get past the 4th of July. This is July 5th through 14th, showing upper 80s, low 90s possible later next week, where you notice temperatures get a little bit cooler. That just could indicate some higher rain coverage. And then once we get past next week and go into the following week of July, it looks like we could see another ridge of high pressure building in. And of course, the morning lows definitely going to be mild and muggy as we get into next week. But let's look at that 6 to 10 day rainfall outlook across central Alabama. The possibility of above average precipitation, and that matches up with this ridge beginning rain to break down and supporting the potential for more rain and storms in the forecast. We've already been seeing those storms on the northeastern periphery of that ridge coming in today. So let's check it out. Here's next Friday, July 7th, showing a little dip in the jet stream. Actually, that could be bringing the possibility of some scattered showers and storms next weekend, and looking at that unsettled weather pattern continuing into that Saturday and Sunday as well. Now, as we get into the following week, here we are, Monday the 10th, showing again the possibility of scattered showers and storms, which we expect that in the summertime, right? Those pop-up showers and storms. But looking ahead here, it does look like maybe once we get into that second week of July, we could get into a more typical summer pattern. You get pop-up showers and storms, hot and humid, exactly what we would expect this time of the year. And I know a lot of you are going to be headed down towards the coast. Going to be hot and humid down there, of course, and you always want to watch out for marine life, right? Well, Shark Week doesn't start until next month, but believe it or not, it began early for a Florida paddleboarder over the weekend. Her board came fin to fin with a hammerhead shark on Sunday. Ari Haight reports.
Malia, come to the side. You're doing good.
It definitely kind of gives you a little bit of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
And that was captured on video. The woman on the paddleboard is Malia Tribble, and she is in the middle of the ocean, about halfway through an 80-mile trip from the Bahamas to the Lake Worth Pier, an event that raises money for cystic fibrosis research.
I was just kind of doing my thing, and I felt a little bit of a tap on my board, but I thought I was picking up seaweed. That happens. You can drag seaweed on your fin.
But in this case, her paddleboard was not the only fin in the water. The other fin belonged to a hammerhead shark following her.
I saw my husband's face drop, and I saw him tell the captain to shut off the engine, and him then guide me into the boat. And so as soon as he did that, I knew it was a shark.
Circling. Hammerhead.
It's one of those things that you have to trust the people you're around.
Keep coming. Keep coming.
And I just knew to listen. My husband jokes that it was the first time I've ever listened to him in my life.
Tribble says she stayed calm the whole time, just focused on maintaining her balance, getting back to the boat and away from the shark.
His head was underneath her board.
Fantastic. I thank you.
I saw it once I sat down because it did go back underneath the board. And oddly enough, it actually kind of looked at me. I swear I saw his eye just stare right at me.
And get this, after a brief 10-minute break, Malia got right back on her board and finished the trip.
Just like falling in. You fall in, you get back up. You don't sit there and sulk about falling in. You have to just keep moving. And it's the best way to kind of move forward.
Love her attitude. Switching gears from sharks to another type of animal. The meowing coming from one SUV in California wasn't a mechanical issue, but needed the attention of a mechanic. It started when a driver stopped and exited her SUV to move a kitten out of the road. By the time she was out of the SUV, the kitten disappeared. The woman figured the kitty ran away. Later in the day, though, the woman heard meowing, so she took her SUV to an auto shop. Mechanics found the kitten in the underbody of the vehicle. Good news is, first of all, the kitten's ridiculously cute. I may start crying. The kitty was not hurt, and it has already been adopted. I gotta say, if I were paddleboarding in the ocean, I think I'd much rather have a kitten by my side than a hammerhead shark. I don't know if the kitten would like that, though. The shark may be more appeasing with the paddleboard. But looking at that super 7-day forecast, no sharks or kittens in the forecast, but we do have that potential for some brutal heat. First alert weather days in store for Friday and Saturday, with feels like temperatures likely topping the triple digits. We could see our first 100-degree day tomorrow since July of last year. We'll see how that pans out. Still the possibility of a few storms in the forecast. Definitely looking stormier Monday into Independence Day and beyond. But check back in with us tonight on First at 9 with an update on your forecast with Chief Extra weeknights at 6:30. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Thursday evening.